Hi everyone, so today's video is going to be all about the best books that I read in 2021. Now, I was really excited to do this video, but my mental health is currently really bad, so I'm probably not going to be able to make this video as best as I can. I want to talk about how much I love these books, but my mental health doesn't really allow me to do that right now, but I'm still going to do my best to talk about my love for these books as best as I can. So yeah, I hope you will still enjoy this video, and let's just get into the best books that I read in 2021. So the first book I will be talking about is Everything I Never Told You. Now, if you've watched a couple of my other videos, you'll know that I really like this book and that it was kind of unexpected because I tried reading this author's other book, which was Little Fires Everywhere, I think. I still haven't read that one, but yeah, I just couldn't get into that book, so I stopped reading it. I will start it sometime soon again, but I started reading this book and I kind of had the same expectations that I wouldn't like it that much, but I ended up absolutely loving this book and it broke my heart completely. I actually have a vlog up on my channel, which I'll link right here, where I read this book along with 5 other books, I think. And yeah, I really love this book. I bawled my eyes out at 9 a.m. in the morning finishing this. Absolutely heartbreaking, and I really enjoyed that. I really like sad books. So yeah, I'm really glad that I read this, and I'm really glad that I enjoyed it. I do want to reread it someday. I don't know why, but I always want to reread sad books. So yeah, maybe I'll reread it one day, and hopefully it will still be a book that I really love when I reread it. So yeah, let's just get into the next book. The next book on this list is Show Us Who You Are, which I'm sure this is not a surprise to anyone. I've talked about this book quite a lot. I really like this book. This is one of the books that I wish I had when I was young, because it basically explains the concept of eugenics to younger kids, because it is a middle grade technically. So yeah, it's written for kids, and it basically explains the concept of eugenics. And for someone who used to be a neurodivergent child, that would have meant a lot to me, because even when you're really young, you're still surrounded by a lot of eugenics, or at least eugenic opinions of people, which even my parents have and always had opinions like that. How I would have been such a better child if I wasn't autistic, and how they would do anything to make it go away, stuff like that. That's eugenics. If I had a book like this that explained to me that hey, you don't need to get rid of stuff like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, stuff like that. You don't need to get rid of all of that just to seem perfect in other people's eyes, because that's eugenics. So yeah, I'm really glad that this book explains that in a way that a child would be able to understand it. So yeah, like I said, I wish I had this book when I was young. I did not, but hopefully now kids these days will have this book, and I'm really glad for that. I'm really glad that the author wrote this book, and yeah, I can't wait to read more books by this author, because she has a new book coming out in a couple months, or next month maybe even, and hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on it. But it can be a bit difficult sometimes, considering I don't live in an English-speaking country. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on it. So yeah, I highly recommend this book, and basically any book on this list. So yeah. Then the next book is Felix Ever After. Now, I feel this entire list of best books of 2021, I feel it's very predictable. I feel you guys saw this one coming as well. But yeah, I really love this book. It has really great representation, for example, trans representation. The cover is also very pretty. The sprayed edges are very pretty. The book itself is very pretty. The inside, the writing is very nice. It deals with some very heavy topics, like being outed to people that you don't want to be out to. But yeah, even though it deals with those heavy topics, I feel it still holds a lot of hope, and I feel it's not too difficult to read. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I want to reread it someday. I feel every single book on this list I want to reread, but yeah, I also want to reread this one. I want to see if I still really like it. Yeah, hopefully when I reread it one day, I will still like it. But yeah, this book had, like, again, great representation, great writing, stuff like that. I can't wait to read, like, other books by this author, because I haven't read any of their books besides this one. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to read more books by them, and hopefully I will like them as much as I like this one. Then the next book is a little bit of a different book because it's an informational book, and that book is How to Survive a Plague. Now, if you've watched my channel from the beginning, you know that I talked about this book a lot, especially in like the first half of 2021, just because it impacted me so much. Basically, this book is all about AIDS and how it was handled when it was first discovered in people. Obviously, because AIDS first was discovered in like mainly gay people, especially like gay men, there was a lot of homophobia surrounding the way that AIDS was handled, and again how badly it was handled. And yeah, this book was very difficult to listen to because I listened to it on audiobook. It's also very long on audiobook, but I feel like it's worth it because again, you get so much information about everything that happened, and it's also very emotional at the same time. Like, you really start like rooting for these people, which is weird to say considering they're actual people, but yeah, you really start like rooting for them to like stay alive, which feels very weird because again, they're real people, so you're actually like hoping that they stay alive. And so when they pass away, like, it hurts a lot. Like, there was one person in particular who died in this book, like at the end, and it broke my heart. But yeah, I feel like it gives a lot of information that I didn't know yet about AIDS and how badly it was handled by everyone. So yeah, I really recommend this book, not in the way that I recommend other books, more in the way of like, if you want to like inform yourself and you're willing to push through this book, even though it's gonna hurt to read, then I highly recommend it because I feel like it is worth it just for the amount of information that you get. So yeah, I recommend this book, but at the same time, be careful when you get into the book. So yeah. Then the next book is a book that probably a lot of you guys were expecting me to say, and so obviously I'm gonna put it on this list because it was one of the best books that I read in 2021, and that is A Kind of Spark. Yes, I'm talking about this book again. I'm not gonna stop until you read it. So yeah, I really like this book so much that I had my mom buy the special edition that they had at Waterstones, because in my country they don't really have a Waterstones. They have like one, I think, but it's very far away. But yeah, I have 2 copies of it. I really like this book. It's by the same author as Show Us Who You Are. It has an autistic main character and an autistic side character as well. And yeah, it's again a middle grade like the author's other book, and I really enjoyed it. It's again one of these books that I wish I had when I was young. If I had this when I was young, I would have realized that I was autistic so much sooner, because I really relate to her, but not now. Like, I probably would have related to her when I was her age. So yeah, this book is really good. It's not too heavy to read because again, it's a middle grade, so they're not gonna make it like absolutely heartbreaking and you're like bawling your eyes out. Even though I did cry a lot at Show Us Who You Are, and I did cry at this one, it's not the same level as like Everything I Never Told You. You know, like, this is clearly like written for like younger kids, which is good. Like, I like books like that. But basically it also deals with some heavy topics. Like, there were some moments that I was like genuinely uncomfortable with what I was reading because it felt so realistic. And even though I've never experienced something that the character experienced like very specifically, like that very specific experience, I didn't have that, but I had like similar experiences, and so it hit a little bit too close to home sometimes. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I really want to reread it, and probably in this edition then, so that I can also like tab it like this one. But like I already mentioned with Show Us Who You Are, I'm really looking forward to the author's other book that's gonna come out next month, which has a character with dyspraxia, which I'm also dyspraxic. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope that everyone who's watching this will give this book a chance, because it is quite short and it's a middle grade, so it reads quite fast, but it also has a very good message. So yeah, I hope you will consider reading it. I feel like I'm like selling this book, but yeah, I really like it. So I'm gonna put these books down now because my shoulders are really starting to hurt from holding both of them up. So yeah. So those were my best books of 2021. I only chose a couple, but I am now gonna like talk about a couple of this, which I forgot that I can't pronounce this word when I wrote it down. But yeah, I cannot pronounce it. I've tried it. The second I tried saying it, I remembered that I can't pronounce this, which I don't know how I forgot, but yeah. I'm gonna mention a couple of these. So yeah, these are also books that I really enjoyed. So also mainly like 5-star reads that I really enjoyed, but not as much as I enjoyed the other books. Or they're not as like special to me as the other books. So yeah, let's get into them. So the first book on this like mini list is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Now, I don't talk about this book a lot, but I do really love it. It took me a bit to get into it, and I read it with like an audiobook, so I should probably reread it again, but it is quite a heavy book, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But yeah, hopefully I will be able to reread it someday. I really liked it. It has a lot of representation, and it deals with some very heavy topics, so go into it with a bit of caution, because I see people like recommending this book a lot without mentioning some of the trigger warnings, which yeah, if you want to read this book, just go look up the trigger warnings, because there are some very heavy ones in here. So yeah, I did really enjoy it, and I don't know why I don't talk about this book more. It's probably because it's in such a like weird place on my bookshelf that I just look over it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book and I recommend it, but look up the trigger warnings. Then the next book that is on this list is A Monster Calls. I could not make this like small list without like adding this book, because I've read it like 5 times now. Obviously I really like it, but yeah, it's basically a very heavy story, and I've said this before, I don't know how heavy it is when you just read it in book form, because I have like the like illustrated version, which I don't know if you can see the illustrations a little bit, but yeah, I have the illustrated version, and because of that, maybe the book is like more like emotional to me, because it always surprises me how much I bawl my eyes out at this book, probably because it hits a bit too close to home. But yeah, it's a really good book. I recommend it. Again, I don't know if just the written version is as good as the illustrated version, but yeah, I still really liked it. Then the next book is also a book I've talked about a lot on this channel, probably too much again, but I'm never gonna stop talking about books that I really enjoyed, especially books that caught me off guard a bit, which obviously the second I say a book that I loved, but it caught me off guard with how much I loved it, obviously most of you are already gonna have a slight idea of what book it could be, because again, I've mentioned it a little bit too much, but that book is Two Boys Kissing. Now, I've mentioned this a lot before. I didn't have very high expectations for this book because it seemed like one of those like overhyped books, but it really wasn't. I really enjoyed it, which you can tell by the like amount of tabs that are in this book. Again, this is one of the books that I really want to reread someday and like see if I still really enjoy it. But the concept of this is really intriguing. I've mentioned it before, but I'm just going to give a very short synopsis again because I feel like it's really interesting. But basically it's told from the perspective of gay men who died of AIDS, and they are basically looking on the like main characters of this book, who are like, you know, getting into their first relationships with another guy, or getting back together with someone, or figuring out their sexuality, stuff like that. But basically just the synopsis of that alone should already like hit you a little bit, like the idea of like dead people just like looking on as like living people experience what they want to experience. is very sad. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I really enjoy like sad books. So obviously I really enjoyed the fact that this book made me like bawl my eyes out sometimes. It had some moments where like I didn't enjoy it as much because it made me feel like a bit uncomfortable, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I recommend it. It's very easy to get through because it's quite short and it reads quite fast despite being very emotional. So yeah. So the lighting is getting really dark because it's about to like storm outside, I think. Like there's a lot of dark clouds currently, but there are some like lighter clouds at the back. So hopefully it will like become a bit brighter again. And hopefully the lighting isn't too bad in this video right now because I'm not gonna like stop filming and wait because my dad will come home in like an hour and I still need to film another video after this. So yeah, I'm gonna mention a couple more, these ones, I forgot I can't pronounce it. I'm gonna mention a couple more of these ones and then I will end this video. And just as I said that, it started raining, so yeah, I hope you can't like hear it too bad. It's only raining like very lightly, but yeah, hopefully it's not too audible. Hopefully it won't start actually like raining like a lot, because then I'm gonna have to stop filming. But yeah, hopefully that won't happen. Like I said, I'm gonna mention a couple more books, and the first one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Now the reason why it's not on like my best books list is because I didn't give this book 5 stars. I gave it 4 stars, I think, and that's because this book has like some very spicy scenes in it, and I don't really like reading those a lot, but it does have like really good representation. It has like chronic pain representation, which obviously as someone who has chronic pain, like I really appreciate that. But yeah, I still need to read the 3rd book in this series because this is the 1st book. I still need to read the 3rd book and then I will have finished the series. But yeah, hopefully the 3rd book will be on my like best books of 2022 list. So yeah, we'll see if that happens. Then the last book that I'm going to talk about in this video is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Now I do have a physical copy of this book, but I cannot seem to find it. It's probably like behind some of my other books, and it's really starting to rain now. I hope it's not too audible. I'm really sorry if it is, but I'm not going to stop filming because I'm almost done with this video. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Again, this was one of those books that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, but I did really enjoy it. This is like a translated book, so they are like more expensive than other books, which is the reason why I haven't read the sequel yet, because it's very expensive and it's really starting to rain now. I hope it's not audible. I really don't want to refilm this. I really don't know what to do if it's like really audible. I'm sorry if the audio quality is really bad. I don't know what to do about it. But yeah, again, I really enjoyed this book. I want to read the sequel, but it costs a lot of money and I don't want to spend that much money. But yeah, once I do have the sequel, I do want to reread this book and then read the sequel, because this is a very short book. So I will be able to reread it very fast. So yeah, I'm now gonna like stop this video. I wanted to talk a little bit more, but it's really raining, which is really annoying because again, I don't know how much it's gonna like show up in the footage. So yeah, hopefully it's not too audible. But thank you for watching this video, and thank you for watching it until like the end. I really appreciate it. I put a lot of like effort into these videos, even though it doesn't seem like it. And sometimes when like my videos do bad, that makes me feel bad because I put so much effort into it. But yeah, thank you for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to, you can put like some of your like best books of 2021 in the comments down below. So yeah, like I said, thank you for watching. Also, like happy 2022. I don't think I've said that yet. I probably should have said that in the beginning. But yeah, happy 2022. I hope this year will be good for you. That rhymed and it was really weird, but yeah, thank you for watching and bye.